Hey YouTubers, it's Charlie. So a whole bunch of stuff happened on Arrow tonight, and we have a trailer for the Vigilante episode. So because there's so much comic book stuff happening, I'm going to combine these two videos. So I'm going to start with the trailer for Vigilante, but we may have found out who Prometheus is on Arrow. They're definitely leading us around with the way they're dropping clues. So obviously spoilers for episode 6. Here we go.
We are fighting a war on two fronts.
These murders might be the works of a different vigilante.
We're on the same side.
Then stop trying to kill us!
This is a war. You're not getting the job done.
This is a war, but I'm gonna fight it the right way, because I am all this city has.
So just to address that trailer footage, that is the Vigilante character right out of the comics. He's basically the district attorney taking on a vigilante persona because, as he says in the trailer, you're not getting the job done. This is a war. Oliver feels like he's gone completely crazy. Like they just had this big thing in episode 6 with Oliver's list and him being a serial killer in the first season. His realization that killing is not supposed to be the first option, but you have the district attorney who just completely loses his shit, so Oliver obviously wants to shut him down before he causes more damage. So that'll be a really awesome fight. I'll be interested to see where they take it, because in the comics, like, he's actually a good person who goes crazy because his family is killed. So we'll see how close they keep it to the comic book story in next week's episode. But it's getting really crazy on Arrow. If you couldn't tell from this episode, they are ramping up to the mid-season finale, 4-night crossover, 100th episode in the mid-season finale, which is nothing to say for what they're introducing in episode 10. Talia al Ghul and Laurel both coming back. Now, they haven't explained how Laurel's coming back, but just the idea that two huge things are happening in episode 10 before we even know what the plot is going to be. But that's the thing. I think there's a big twist with the Prometheus reveal at the end of episode 6. So just to start with the biggest stuff first, they found out that Prometheus is someone inside the police station or someone with access to the police station, and they want you to think that it's Quentin because he has a cut on his arm, the same place that Prometheus was cut by Artemis, and he has one of the throwing stars. But because he's been getting blackout drunk, or seemingly blackout drunk, that's why he has the look on his face like he doesn't recognize what's going on. He's like, why is my arm cut? What is this crazy throwing star? So very clearly, something is happening when Quentin is getting blackout drunk. So someone might be manipulating him, and that might have something to do with Talia al Ghul later this season. But remains to be seen. I want to point something out though, before we talk about Dolph Lundgren though, because that was the other huge thing, I really loved his introduction scene, is that there was a big twist in a Batman animated movie called Mystery of the Batwoman, where Batman finds out that there's this Batwoman running around the city being a vigilante, but then he finds out that it's actually 3 women pretending to be one person. So just because they're pointing you in the direction of a couple different Prometheus people doesn't mean it has to be a single person. Because we've only heard Prometheus talk a few times, like when he was in the subway car, he didn't say anything at all, and you don't get a good sense for how tall he is. People think that it might be Felicity's boyfriend. He seemed genuinely excited when Felicity revealed she was working with the Green Arrow. He did ask her all those questions, so I know that seems kind of weird, but the way he was playing it, like I'm guessing that the Billy Malone character is not an amazing actor. Otherwise, he's turning in an Oscar-worthy performance, pulling the wool over Felicity's eyes. Like, oh wow, who's the Green Arrow? Do you know where he lives? When we literally just heard Tobias Church reveal to Prometheus that it was Oliver Queen and got 0 reaction, meaning that Prometheus already knew who Oliver Queen was, and Prometheus knows about the list. There aren't that many people that know about Oliver's list. They would have had to have been around during season 1 or been someone else who had access to another list. Because you're talking about people that were in league with Merlin. Because like Oliver's mother, for example, knew about the list when Oliver's father, separate from his mother, gave Oliver his copy of the list. So there are a handful of people that know about the list, especially people that were around for original Team Arrow, which does include Quentin. So Quentin definitely checks a lot of boxes when it comes to who Prometheus might be. But the thing is that he clearly does not realize what's going on. So one, either someone is mind controlling him somehow when he gets blackout drunk, because there's no way he'd be able to fight when he was actually blackout drunk. something has to be going on. It's not so simple. Like, it's not just like a reverse Green Arrow thing where somebody takes up the cause. There is very clearly a conspiracy at work trying to pin this on Quentin, because Paul Blackthorne himself is actually a pretty fit person, so he could pull off stunts like that. Now, they probably do have a stunt person when they do big fight scenes, but Paul Blackthorne himself could actually double as Prometheus. He's the right size. He's actually taller than Stephen Amell. He's about 6'4". Stephen Amell is only about 6'1", so Prometheus does seem like a big guy, so it could be him underneath the mask. But the thing is that it all goes back to mind control, because otherwise, how would Quentin not realize what's going on when he wakes up like in this drunken stupor and sees the cut on his arm and sees one of Prometheus's throwing stars? So because there's still so much information that we don't know yet, I feel like the mid-season finale is when they're going to finally pin Prometheus on a couple people and be like, here, this is the explanation, this is kind of how it works, this is why Prometheus is doing what he's doing. So given all that, based on the information they presented in this episode, how do you think that Quentin is involved in this? I feel like somebody's taking advantage of him in the information that he has. Like, that's probably how Prometheus knew about the list. If it's not Quentin, then somebody pulled that information out of Quentin when he was super drunk. So either Quentin is being mind controlled and he has crazy ninja skills, or somebody else is manipulating him and he doesn't realize it because he's been getting so drunk. So just remember that they're trying to lead you in a couple different directions. Like, they want you to wonder about Felicity's boyfriend because he's one of the people inside the police department. You know, Felicity came to that conclusion at the end of the episode. It's somebody inside the police station. But they also want you to think about Quentin because he's like, oh my God, there's blood. There's a throwing star. What the hell's happening? So the other big thing, Ivan Drago, He-Man, debuted on the show. Dolph Lundgren has this total Negan introduction. If you guys don't watch Walking Dead, he's just like a really evil, charismatic person where he gives Oliver this cold speech about how he's basically not going anywhere, and no matter how much Oliver tries, he's not going to be able to get rid of him. So that's why he says it's going to be a pleasure working with you, because he knows that Oliver wants to kill him, get rid of him, but he's such a badass that he just throws that in Oliver's face. There's nothing you can do about me. You're just going to have to get used to it. So he pretty much just threw the gauntlet down. If you watch the first couple of episodes of The Walking Dead Season 7 this year, like the last couple weeks, Negan pretty much did the same thing, albeit in a much, much bloodier way. But it was a great episode. The soundtrack was good. I like what the other characters were doing too. There was a lot of stuff happening, but I feel like the couple big things that happened in this episode were so big that I wanted to focus the video about that. So let me know in the comments, do you think that this is going to have anything to do with Talia al Ghul's appearance on the show? What's going on with this Prometheus conspiracy? It sounds like it might be a couple people working together rather than just a single person. But just remember, mid-season finale isn't that far off, so we're going to get a little bit more information every single episode. But also, really good news. So Legends of Tomorrow this season only had a 13-episode order initially. The CW just ordered 4 more episodes because they like what they're doing so much. So there's going to be 17 episodes total of Legends of Tomorrow this year instead of 13. For those of you that are still asking too, The Flash was on break this week, but everything is back to normal next week. It was just because of the election, because that took up most of Tuesday night. So The Flash is back next week. Even though the order is kind of weird, they'll probably sync things up before the big mid-season crossover. So the other shows might go on break a little bit so that The Flash can catch up, or they'll do something so that The Flash will be able to catch up and it'll happen in the right order. So whenever they announce something about that, I'll totally do an update, like the next big DC video that I do. But there is a new round of the giveaway going on now. I'll announce the winner in my Legends of Tomorrow video. All you have to do to enter is be a subscriber and leave a comment on this video. So Legends of Tomorrow posting later tonight. There was also a cool Spider-Man Homecoming interview video that I'll try to post if I can get it out before Legends of Tomorrow posts. Now that the election craziness is over, we can turn our attention back to the really important stuff, comic books. While you guys wait for that to post, you can click here for the teaser for Killer Frost vibe comic book costumes on The Flash, and you can click here to learn how Fox is rebooting their entire X-Men universe, which includes Wolverine and Deadpool. So thank you so much for watching, everybody. Let's high five. I'll see you guys tonight.